Hello everyone, Alistair Gold here. No sigh, just a smile, because Tottenham Hotspur are top of the league, top of the Premier League. It may only be for a week or two, but they're top of the league. And do you know what? The under-21s are top of the league. The under-18s are top of the league. They got a terrific, I think it was 7-2 victory against Norwich. Mikey Moore getting a hat-trick, 2 assists. You know, everything's just going too well at Tottenham. Something's going to go horribly wrong. That's part of our DNA. We're bred to just not expect nice things. But my goodness, Tottenham Hotspur are top of the league. I'm still struggling to digest that. Yeah, madness. I mean, we have to talk about Yves Bissouma's daft double of yellow cards. And it's one of those where I don't want to say I hate to be right, because it wasn't right. It's not like I said anything was going to happen. But I did say in a press conference a couple of weeks ago to Postecoglou, like, are you concerned about the fact that Yves Bissouma is already on 3 yellow cards? I think that was in 5 games at that point. And have you had to say anything to him? And he was at that point was like, no, it's just part of where he's playing on the pitch. It's circumstances and things like that. But it kind of came back to haunt him, kind of, not him, but Bissouma yesterday, because obviously picked up the card against Liverpool, so that became 4. And then, you know, it's also, was it that one or the Arsenal one? One of them was for dissent as well, and that's a silly thing. You know, there's no reason to that. And then yesterday's ones, first one was a really clumsy challenge. He was like clambering all over the player. It was so unnecessary. So that was his 5th. So he was already at that point then suspended for the game against Fulham after the international break. And then 4 minutes into added time, it was so frustrating. I mean, you could argue maybe there was a potential foul on Maddison in the build-up. I've looked at it a few times, and sometimes I'm looking at it and thinking, yeah, it was a foul on Maddison. And other times I'm looking at it and thinking, did he maybe just slightly get the ball as he did it? Either way, Bissouma then picks up the ball, goes on a nice dribble, and you're thinking, hello, here he goes into the box. He's either going to have a shot or lay it off. And he just anticipated some kind of contact that was just never came. And he just went to the floor. And you can always tell from a player, because the referee went for his pocket and Bissouma, there was not even a sarcastic laugh or oh my goodness, why me? He just knew, and he walked straight off. And it was a difficult walk, because at Kenilworth Road, you've got to walk, especially from where he did it, right across, diagonally across the pitch, because the tunnel's in the corner. It's to walk, all the fans waving him goodbye and calling him a cheat and everything. It'll have been a learning experience for him on a big scale, let's put it that way. And do you know what the most ridiculous thing about it is? Because it's a red card, it almost supersedes, cancels out the fact that he got 4 yellow cards. He actually goes back to being on 4 yellow cards. It's a weird rule. I hadn't actually even thought about it. And then at half-time, I was speaking to some of the people that would know within the club, and they were telling me, I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, it is. And I looked it up, obviously, and I doubted them, but I had a little look as well. And it supersedes the fact that he got a yellow card. It becomes a red card rather than a second yellow card, if you know what I mean. Sorry, it takes away the first yellow card and just becomes a red card. So that 4th yellow card that he picked up against Liverpool is still where he's at. He goes back to that point, which means that technically he could miss Fulham. Well, he does miss Fulham. And then he could come back against Palace, pick up a yellow card and miss the Chelsea game. It's just madness. And this is what we mean. It is something I think he's going to have to now look at, because if we're going to do it the complete opposite way to the Premier League, we can look at that and say that he's had 6 yellow cards in his first 8 games. It's the kind of thing that we were going to moan that Romero was doing and now no longer does. So I do think, despite what Postecoglou says about him being in those areas, and I totally understand that and agree with that. A midfielder is going to be in those kind of areas. He's still got to just have that little bit more discipline. You know, he's an older player and he's got to set an example. It's just one of those things. I've said this before, but I don't think it's any coincidence that when you've got leaders that are Sonny, Maddison and Romero, who are players that in one moment can be real jokers, really happy, smiling types, but in another moment, all 3 of them are incredibly serious about winning and very hungry players in that point in their career where they really want to win things as well. I don't think it's any shock or coincidence that is reflected in the nature of the squad. They're really enjoying each other's company. They all feel like a kind of a family thing. Even silly little things like on Instagram afterwards, you can tell the difference between when it's someone from social media, like a social media team running a player's account, and what they do, and when you can tell the player is on their phone and they're on their account, because they're all leaving silly little funny messages under each other's Instagram posts, or really nice, encouraging messages under each other's posts. Like Maddison does it all the time. And from what I understand, that is Maddison. That's who he is. He very much will go on there and kind of just make sure he says these little things under all his teammates' stuff, and like Van der Ven and you know, he kind of said like little nice things about him as well on Instagram. And yeah, I know it's social media is not the be all and end all of things, but it gives us a little window into their world and what you can imagine going on behind the scenes. And I love the fact that we're now getting so many little videos after games. You can see the little interactions. Like Sonny he's an incredible captain. I can't believe that anyone doubted that Sonny would be a brilliant Spurs captain. Just watch the little interactions he has with every player. After that Fulham game, he pretty much went round to every single one of them. And it wasn't a cursory hug, a shake of the hand, whatever. It was very much each of them. He went up and did this little like thing with them, spoke to them, had a little chat with them about something. And like Sarr, he's got him in a headlock as he's taking him off the pitch and everything. And yeah, he's doing such a brilliant job. And like I said, that little leadership trio is probably the cleverest move that Postecoglou could have made when he came into the club. It's very, very fitting, and it's very much symbolic of the new look squad that he wants going forward. It's a bit of a masterstroke, to be honest. I thought Sonny put in another really hard working display. He just needs a rest. Mr. Jurgen Klinsmann, please give him a rest for Korea, because he needs one badly. Again, like I said, it's no coincidence that he and Maddison are coming off pretty much every week at the moment after about 75 minutes. It was another captain's performance, really hard-working. Maybe without the clinical edge he's had in recent games. He had 30 touches of the ball from his 75 minutes on the pitch. But against Arsenal, he only had 18 touches and scored 2 goals. So, yeah, just... It's difficult. I don't really want to criticise Sonny too much, because I still felt that he did enough in the game and he worked so hard, especially when it went down to 10 men. Yeah, look, he's Spurs' top scorer right now, so I don't think he really deserves any criticism whatsoever right now. I just needs a rest. Just let the man sleep. Let him just go away, lie in a bed, and just curl up and have about 2 weeks sleep and just rest every part of his body that needs resting. Now he just needs a bit of lady luck, doesn't he, over this international break, because Son and Maddison could do with some rest. Like I say, please, Mr. Jurgen Klinsmann, if you do truly love Spurs, and actually I put a little shout out in the podcast with Guesty that I do each week, Gold and Guest Talk Tottenham. If you haven't listened to it, I said in that as a little shout out to Korean fans to let me know, did they want Sonny to play for Korea? I know they've got 2 friendlies. I think it is certainly Vietnam, one of them. I can't remember who the other one's against. It was a better team. I can't remember who it was, but ultimately they were both friendlies. And so I put the thing out there really of, you know, would they prefer Sonny to play, obviously to play for his country, or would they prefer him to? So you know, I'm looking up South Korea's matches because I don't want to appear disrespectful. I didn't know that the games. It is. No, that's September. Come on, get it right. They have got Tunisia. That was the other one. Tunisia. Yes, October 13th, Friday. Yeah, did they want Sonny to play in the games? I know Klinsmann will want to win those games. He's under, I think, a little bit of pressure. So he will need his captain, his best player to play. Or did the Korean fans just want Sonny to rest up and it's obviously this groin issue that he's had and just let it go? And actually, overwhelmingly, every Korean fan who got in touch said that they want Sonny to have a rest, which I thought was really interesting and kind of shows the feeling there. And maybe, you know, it'd be interesting to know whether Klinsmann kind of gets that feeling as well and feels that actually it might be to his detriment if he plays, especially if he picks up an injury, just stuffing everyone.